this is Rogue Gaming here, back for another video. Today we're going to be on the main account here, and we're just going to be going through some of the my most wanted legendary champions in the game. Now, this video is not going to have void legendaries. I decided to make it just like there's no void legendaries, and also there will be no champions that you can obtain free to play. So stuff like Still of the Drakes, who's a login, or Barsatha, who would have been on the list, or someone like Barsatha from the Doom Tower Fragments. By the way, this is probably my most wanted legendary in the entire game. He's just so cool. Yeah, so this is just gonna be all the free-to-play stuff, or the non-free-to-play stuff, something that you can only get through summoning. So yeah, let's start off. So first, go to Bannerlords, and most wanted one has to be Septimus. Like, Septimus is amazing. You see him basically all the time in Doom Tower waves, just clearing everything up. I'm pretty sure a lot of it comes from his Behead ability. Attacks one enemy, grants an extra turn, and resets the cooldown of this champion's Holy Sword skill if the target is killed. This skill here, Holy Sword, will ignore shield and block damage debuffs. So if you got someone like, say like Ugo on the other team with the block damage, he's just gonna hit right through it. Damage increases according to enemy max HP as well. So really good nuke as well. Each attack has a 30% chance of increasing the duration of all debuffs. Damage inflicted by each attack increases by 30% if the max HP, if the current HP is over 50%. Like, this guy just slaps hard, and he has an ally attack aura by 23%. He's just insane. Yeah. Moving on to High Elves. Now, I was tossing up between Lysandra. I was thinking about doing Lysandra for this list because she's just an absolute speed machine. In the end, I ultimately decided to go for Tutura Rhymehide. He was a fusion, I'm pretty sure the start of this year, like end of last year. Yeah, Tutura Rhymehide, it's just such an awesome champion to be like. Decrease accuracy, yeah, that's alright. Block debuffs and increase defense for 2 turns on a 3-turn cooldown when booked. It's amazing. And then here we go. Attacks all enemies. Alright, so we got AoE on the A3. Places a perfect veil on all allies except this champion for 2 turns. So if you pair that up with this the increased defense as well. Not to mention, also places a shield on this champion for 2 turns, equal to 20% of the damage inflicted. So the more and also defense-based champion as well. So you get this. So you get Wings of Shelter. You use that, and then you're doing extra damage. You're doing extra defense-based damage on your Otherworld Breach, which is not a 4-turn cooldown. So you're protecting everyone else from single target damage. They're just amazing. And then when attacked, reflects 30% of the damage this champion receives back to the attacker. Also has a 30% chance of placing freeze for 1 turn. They're just so good. Sacred Order now. Now I was tossing up between a few here, but the one that I ultimately went for was a new guy, Archbishop Pinthroy. If it will load up, hold up. Oh, any day, Pinthroy. There you go. Yeah, this guy, the new guy. 150 ancient shards to get him, or you could just be lucky, if unlike me. A1 attacks 1 enemy, transfers one random debuff from this champion to the target. Also has a chance to steal a buff. That's 75%. That's pretty good. Right, and then Holy World, 3-turn cooldown when booked. Places a 50% accuracy buff on all allies for 2 turns, then attacks the enemy. Then attacks all enemies, so we got the AoE. Places a 100% heal reduction on all enemies for 2 turns. And also has a 75%, which is 100% when booked, of placing block buffs on all enemies for 2 turns. And enemies from Demon's Spawn, Undead Horde, and Knights Rev cannot resist it. So, like, obviously because he's like Bishop and stuff. But still, like, 3-turn cooldown for all of that. This guy is insane for Hydra. and this skill as well. Heals all enemies by 30% of their own max HP, then places increased defense on all allies for 2 turns. If 4 or more allies are alive, again, that Hydra, also places a shield on all allies for 2 turns equal to 30% of their max HP. That's so good. Then removes all decreased defense and weaken debuffs from this champion at the start of each turn. So, Great Cleanser, and then Aura's increased attack, increased accuracy by 50. He's an amazing champion. Moving on to Barbarians. Moving on to Barbarians. Obviously, we've got Settle the Drakes, whose daily login you get her after 180 days, so about 6 months into the game. If you get her, absolutely max her out. But for me, tossing up between these two, Kentra the Cyclone, Elder Skarg, and Valkyrie. I ultimately decided to go for Valkyrie, but the other two were extremely close. But yeah, Valkyrie, you all know her, you all love her or hate her, depending on which side of the battle you're on. A1, attacks one enemy twice, decreases turn meter by 10% on each hit if the target has any buffs on them. That's so good. Attacks all enemies, just in a vacuum, like, she is just great. But then here we go, here. Attacks all enemies, places a shield buff on all allies for 3 turns, and a counter attack buff for 2 turns on everyone. The value of the shield and the damage inflicted are proportional to this champion's defense, which is very high, like 1600 defense. That's amazing. Not to mention our defense aura, only in faction crits, but it's still 33% defense. And this champion's turn meter will increase by 10% each time an enemy champion places a buff. Enemy champions will have their turn meter decrease by 10% for each buff they receive. Like, Jealousy is an amazing passive, and definitely recommend getting her if you can. We're gonna move on to Ogryn Tribe now, and I ended up deciding to go for Gurtuk Mossbeard. The way that he plays with poisons is so interesting and so cool to me, and I just want him. Like, one enemy twice, places 15% continuous heal on all allies for 1 turn if they're under poison. Removes all debuffs except poison debuffs from an ally, then it heals them by 30% of their max HP, and places a shield on the target ally equal to 20% of their max HP for 2 turns. It's very good. Now here's where the poisons come from. Places 3 small poison debuffs on all allies for 3 turns. These debuffs cannot be resisted or blocked. Also has an 80% chance. Sorry about that. Also has an 80% chance, books up to 100%, of placing block buffs, debuffs on all enemies for 2 turns, which is amazing, on a 3-turn cooldown as well. You might be thinking, like, why do you want poisons on your allies? Isn't that kind of counterintuitive? It is, until you look at his passive. And allies under poison debuffs inflict 7.5% more damage for each poison on them, stacking up to a total of 30%. So if you got 4 poisons on one ally, they're doing 30% more damage. This damage increase applies to all of their skills. Also increases each ally's resistance by 15 for each poison debuff on them. That is insane. It's actually insane. Yeah. Sorry guys, sorry if I sound a bit sick. I've had to stay off school. I had to stay off school a few days last week just because I'm not feeling great. It's not the bad. You know, it's not that great. Moving on to Lizardmen. Obviously, Barsatha is amazing. Razen Scarhide probably would have been on here as well, but you can get him for free from the fusion in the summoning portal, and he's amazing. Like, anywhere in the game, pretty much anywhere in the game, he's amazing. Yeah, and I decided to go for Dracomorph. It's tough between him and Fushan, but I decided to go for Dracomorph. Like, Draco... Draco He used to be a bit of a laughing stock in the game. I didn't play back then, but he's just a great champion. Yeah, attacks one enemy, damage increased by 10% for each debuff on them. So already clan boss, and like regular demon lord clan boss, he's amazing. Just with that skill as well. Will attack one random enemy with any surplus damage if the target is killed. So that's already an awesome skill. Yeah. Damage inflicted is equal to triple the surplus damage, which is insane. My surplus damage cannot be critical, so no, it's all like that last bit does drag it down a bit, but it's still an amazing ability. Then here's another part where he's great for clan boss. Attacks 4 times at random. If there's only one target, all 4 attacks go into the one enemy. Each hit places poison for 3 turns. 4 max poisons on a 3-turn cooldown. That's insane. And then places a 25% weaken and a max decreased defense on all enemies for 2 turns on a 3-turn cooldown. The wave clearing also, he's now an amazing champion. And ally accuracy and faction crits by 50. It's just such an awesome champion. So cool. Skinwalkers. I don't know what it is with the Skinwalkers, but like, never really seem to get any of them on any of my accounts. Like, I get one here and there, but like on my free to play, I've got like I think like 5 Skinwalkers. Yeah, for my choice on here, I decided to go for Brackus the Shifter. Like Fire Knight, Arena, like he's just Doom Tower. He's just a clan boss as well. I guess he's amazing. Attacks one enemy, heals by 15% of the damage inflicted. Yeah, that's alright. Attacks one enemy 6 times. 6 times. Imagine that in Fire Knight. That would be so good. The first hit has a 75% chance, books up to 100, of placing a 25% weaken for 3 turns. Heals this champion by 25% of the damage inflicted. Heals this champion by 50% of damage inflicted instead if the target is under fear or true fear. Now, where do the fears come from? Well, if you look at the A3, places a 50% increased attack buff on all allies for 3 turns, and then attacks one enemy 3 times. So great for like clan boss, great for arena, great for Fire Knight again. Each hit has a 50% chance, books up to 75, of placing a true fear debuff for 1 turn. Has a 50% chance of placing a fear debuff on 2 random enemies for 1 turn if the true fear is placed. Goes on a 4-turn cooldown. I don't know if I mentioned. Full Moon Rampage has 6 hit. That's on a 3-turn cooldown. That is amazing. And then Beast Mode passive. Increased damage increases by 40% if this champion's HP drops below 40%. And then not only that, but also revives this champion with 20% HP when killed. Immediately grants an extra turn on a 5-turn cooldown. That's very good. So you get the heal there. Yeah, heal there. It's amazing. Like also that paired with Relentless, if you get a proc there, that's like just like 40-50% heal. Insane. Yeah, then Orcs. Orc tribe, I decided to go for Iron Brago. Like, just you know him. Like he's great. He's absolutely great. Attacks. Next one enemy has a 30% chance of decreasing the duration of all buffs by 1 turn. So that's just Great for like arena and clan boss, stuff like that. Places 60% increased defense on all allies, then attacks. Notice how he's also decreased his defense base, 1500 defense. It's great. And then attacks the enemy. Has a 75% chance, books up to 100, of placing a stun debuff for 1 turn. Has a 100% chance when booked of placing a stun debuff for 2 turns instead, if the target has 2 or more buffs on a 3 turn. That is great. Like, just buffs on the enemy being used against them is just such a cool thing to me. Then, listen to here, his AoE. Attacks all enemies, has 75% chance when booked of placing Provoke for 1 turn. Also places increased attack on all enemies for 2 turns. If all enemies are if Fire Embargo is under an increased defense buff. Now I don't know. Now, not too sure why you would want to have increased attack on. Oh, sorry, I misread that. It's decreased attack on the enemies if he's under increased defense. And then increases the defense of all allies by 10% of this champion's defense. So just, even if that anything, that's an extra 150 defense on all enemies, basically, without doing anything. Ally defense in Doom Tower by 34%. Like, he's all about the defense. Like, enemies not doing enough damage and all that stuff. He's great. So I reckon that'll be the end of part 1 here. I need to rest my voice. Don't want to get too much more sick. Next episode, probably get it out within the next day or 2. I'm going to go through his last 6 factions. Yeah. Hope you guys had an amazing day today. Stay safe, stay well, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Stay safe.